Hi, I'm Chef Almir Da Fonseca. I'm the owner of Flavor Source Fonte Sabor Gastronomy Services, and I'm a professional chef for almost 30 years now in the field. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about sustainable cookery. I think sustainable cookery comes in many directions, and it's definitely something that we all should be concerned with because not only will provide a sense of community between the farmers and the region and the cuisines, but also would allow us the opportunity to utilize a lot of the product that is often being pushed aside. Second would be a much more cost effective and frankly as a professional chef I'll say interesting way to cook. I think you can do fantastic things with simple products, making the right choices of ingredients, utilizing seasonal ingredients, utilizing local products from people that you actually trust that is actually producing amazing food for you. I think one, you're going to be eating much healthier, two, much safer, and much better. It's going to be much more fun and much more interesting. So I'm going to start talking a little bit about some of the products that are being gaining from the region, all seasonal and regional products, and being produced by amazing farmers over here in Sonoma and Napa County. And today I'm gonna be working with just a gorgeous pig. This pork coming from Fallen Hills Farm, which is a natural, organic, and free-range pork that comes from a beautiful farm in Tomales Hill. And we're going to be utilizing the whole thing. So we're going to be doing phenomenal dishes and tasty dishes and creative dishes, but also done in the old school method of sustainable cookery and utilization. So as you see, you have just gorgeous two pigs over here. The average weight on that is about 180 pounds. Just amazing, and it's butchered correctly and it's cleaned correctly, and the meat is just so nice, and the color is just bright pink, just phenomenal. So I'm going to utilize the whole thing. So it started out from one end to the next, so basically it really truly head to tail type of cookery. So it started out in the head. So basically what I do, once I take the head out of the animal, I'm going to just kind of butcher starting from the chin of the animal, and I'm going to take all the meat in one single piece of the head. I'm going to cure. I have a spice curing mix that I use, all complete natural, that of course is a secret recipe. You're gonna have to come and see us at Flavor Source Fonte Sabor to be able to taste that. But we cure, and we cure overnight, and we allow that to pellicle, and then we just simply roll pretty much like a pancetta would like. That technique is actually called porchetta di testa. Testa for forehead, porchetta for the rolled pork. So, and then we cook that very, very slowly for 24 hours and allow it to rest it, and we thin slice, and then we create a beautiful dish. We have a fantastic salad that I serve that is porchetta di testa, thin slice with fresh fruits, and might be apples and peaches and nectarines and figs with a little bit of whole grain mustard, a very thin slice of bread that is actually pan fried in extra virgin olive oil, and a little bit of watercress. So it's really a great salad. It's very rich in flavor, so just a little bit goes a long way, and that is a classic dish that will be used for a long time. So the next part of the pig, we're going to go into the shoulders and the ham. So the ham, what I normally do, I can do several things. I have a beautiful spice mix that I have, that I cure that, and I hang it, and I do as a ham, or I debone that and make it into a speck, or any type of charcuterie. Make chorizo with that, make sausage with that. Just fantastic meat for that. The shoulder, I do a great braise. It's just beautiful. It's this highly exercised part of the meat, and it's not as lean. The ham part is very lean. The shoulder is not. So the shoulder, I marinate that with a mix of spices. Might be some cumin and coriander and many other spices. Some balsamic vinegar as well. Some fresh crushed tomatoes, and then I marinate that overnight. And then on the following day, actually braise that by with the addition, of course, I take the bones of the pork and I roast it and make a beautiful pork stock with that. So I add stock to that marinated shoulder and I braise very slowly, and then at service time, I just kind of simply heat it up. That sauce that is developed over time during the braising process, just a phenomenal sauce. It's really a shiny sauce, have a great flavor, really true amazing flavor development that happened throughout the cookery over there. And I often serve that, whether I'm doing a nice risotto, a rice dish, or a polenta dish. And in this case that you're gonna see in some of the photographs, I do a beautiful, creamy polenta that I flavor with a little bit shaved black truffles and herbs, and then I serve the shoulder with the natural reduction that comes from that braising process. That's just fantastic. And then going back to the ham, because it's a lean meat, I incorporate some of the fat, and the fat generally comes from the belly, and there is a lot of fat over there, as you know, the bacon. So what I do two things. I do natural bacon with that, and I do a beautiful pancetta with that as well. And then some of the fat I grind it with the ham meat, and I make a beautiful chorizo. And I have just a phenomenal dish that I've been doing with is basically satay mussels or clams, with house-made chorizo. And the chorizo that I do and incorporate several techniques. And chorizo is something that many nations have been used. We use a lot of chorizo in South America, where I come from. I'm originally from Brazil and been butchering all my life. I come from 5 generations of farmers in the state of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. But in Italy and Spain and Portugal and all other countries in Eastern Europe and Asia, and we always doing some type of charcuterie with some parts of the pig. So this one I do a Colombian style chorizo. They have a specific flavor profile that I really like. It goes really well with some of the wines that we cook with over here in Napa and Sonoma County, and have just a nice little tangy from the pepper and really kind of nice and herb note from the green onions, and works really well with the wines that we do that dish. And we just simply do a simple satay and steam with a little bit white wine, mussels with the chorizo in there, and create a nice balance over that. And shellfish and charcuterie, shellfish and pig flavor, it's really a nice balanced combination that works really well. So I'll love you to try, with us sometimes. And then the pancetta, as I mentioned, I take the belly and I season with fresh cracked black pepper and sea salt, and I sometimes will use a little rosemary inside, some bay leaves, and then I roll really tight and allow it to rest and make really fantastic pancetta, which I thinly slice that, and then I lay in a plastic wrap like a film, and then I put each little slice of pancetta side by side each other, and I put the pork tenderloin, which is the leanest part of the pork. Have very lean meat, very noble cut. A lot of the restaurants like to utilize that because it's such a noble cut, very tender, very delicious. But in my view, it needs a little fat to really make that thing really truly delicious. So what I do, I wrap in pancetta that pork tenderloin, which I sear and roast it just to perfect temperature, which is generally about 140 degrees internally, and then the rest to 145 on that pork tenderloin. And then I serve sometimes over the same creamy polenta, sometimes I do other sides for that dish, but it's just a gorgeous dish, and you get that little crispy pancetta on the outside and really tender, flavorful pork tenderloin on the inside. The pork loins, I often brine that and I cook, and then I serve with various sides as well. And then the belly, I make a beautiful bacon that I cure very nicely, and I smoke to perfection all the way to 155 degrees internally, and then rest to about 160. And I'll get that bacon, I render the fat, and just very slowly, and I use that bacon for several things, whether it's for salads, whether it's to cook braising greens, which is something that I absolutely love. It's just kind of black kale, Tuscan kale, or sweet chard that I simply saute with house cured bacon, and then we make a beautiful dish. So it not only generates great cooking fat that I can utilize for all sorts of other dishes, but it's really a delicious bacon because it's nothing like making your own and serve, you know, to your friends and your family or your guests if you are, you know, doing a catering or doing an event, and I think that is really, you know, where it's at. But going back to the sustainable aspect of the food becomes this whole notion of the philosophy behind sustainability, and that is really truly what is important in this conversation and that we are talking here, which is the head to tail. And the head to tail can come in various ways. Can be from, you know, utilizing a organically grown in your backyard beautiful carrots that you can, you know, after you wash and you peel, you dehydrate the peels of the carrots and make a powder, and that powder would be what you're gonna flavor your next pasta dish or your next vinaigrette. So understanding product utilization will really come into play in a full picture. I'm really talking about the larger picture over here. And what you see with these products, using one animal, I create several dishes, several techniques, and I can even incorporate several types of cuisines and flavor profile, and I'm harvesting one animal rather than only serve the noble cut and then have to harvest several animals because each animal can only produce so much of each type of cut. So with the technical aspect of butchery, I can utilize all the cuts. So with all that said, and all the information that I presented to you and all the things that we share, and just go out and try. Just, you know, lose a little bit the fear and you know, let your curiosity and your cooking passion and, you know, drive you into trying new things and new parts and new types of cookery, and you know, create a new repertoire on your cooking by utilizing, you know, parts of the animal or vegetables in this case that you haven't tried before.